Hey everyone, it's Jen with ChappyPlans. Thanks for joining me for December Daily. This is going to be the rest of Volume 2, so stick around. Hey friends, it's Jen with ChappyPlans. Thanks for joining me for this video. I'm so excited to finish my December Daily album. My goal was to finish it by the end of January, and I have succeeded because today, at least the time of doing the voiceover, is January 25th. So I have established and completed my goal of finishing the second volume, which I think is pretty impressive because I didn't really work on most of it until after we got back from break and we had a lot going on. So yeah, I'm glad to be able to finish this project with you all. So today's video has stories 28, 29, 30, and 31. So it's going to be a long one. Make sure you're comfy cozy, you have a nice drink or a snack, or maybe you're crafting or journaling yourself and you're just using my voice and hearing about my shenanigans as background noise, and that's totally fine too. But I'm going to speed up this video and continue doing my voiceover. So I knew I wanted to use this patterned paper. I love the label shape this year, and I have a lot of photos. So I had to get really creative in the next few stories because there were so many photos and just, yeah, like I actually had to narrow a few down. So what I decided to do was use the die set to cut out the photos. So I pre-sized them in print to size and then printed them out on Epson premium presentation photo paper. And then I just cut them out with scissors and then use the die to trim out all of the photos. And I didn't film me doing that with all of the photos because I think there's like 17 or 18 of them. I am using this alpha stamp set, which is one of my favorites. I love the distress look on them, to spell out Cousin Christmas. And it worked out that each row would have 3 letters across. And I'm just leaving a little tiny gap between cousin and Christmas so that it does look like it's 2 separate words. I decided to add a few little asterisks at the end. Whenever I do a longer section of stamping like this, I speed up the camera to 10 times so that this isn't super long. But you get the idea. You can see that I'm just inking up my stamp, wiping it off, and then putting it back on the acetate. Then at the bottom, I will add a die cut that says December because I'm not a huge fan of that blank space down there, even though it's already on a pattern paper. And this paper is from a previous kit. So then I'm going to adhere it to the back of story 27. And I also have this other transparency with the same label shape that's clear and then just has the same gold foiling. And I am a little bit anal about my golds. I don't like it if they're really different shades because some of the golds tend to be more yellow and some tend to be more, I don't know, like have a copper undertone. And so I really like for the different shades to somewhat be like matching-ish, if that makes sense. So then I am going to adhere it to the back right next to the pattern paper I just stamped on, and then I'm going to add some trim on the edge, and I decided to go with this white pom-pom trim that I had in my stash, and I'm just going to use some 1/8 inch double-sided score tape from scrapbook.com to adhere that down. I'm not sure why I use that and not my red line tape, but I guess, I don't know. For whatever reason, that's what I reached for. I'm watching Tell Me Lies like the entire season while I am putting these pages together. So I was also distracted for sure. Let me know in the comments if you've seen that show. It's total garbage and it's exactly what my brain needs right now. This is my form of self-care with everything going on in the world, with, you know what, people being taken and lives being taken. I just can't. So, I have to disengage and dissociate sometimes, which isn't always healthy, but sometimes it serves me. And right now, my past of having trauma and being able to dissociate is definitely working to my advantage because it's just too heavy right now. To be honest with you, if it wasn't for my faith, I don't know how people, like, I don't know how people do it. You know, how people wake up every day and choose to stay and to fight and to persist when this is the reality of our lives right now. But anywho, I'm going back to cut out some larger sizes of this vellum polka dot paper. I think it might be, I'm honestly not sure. I think I grabbed it at Joann a while ago. And it's really just to act as a little pocket for some of these photos, because some of the pictures are taken within seconds of each other and have to, are all related. So those few photos I'm going to group together. You'll see that in just a second. So now I need to figure out what I want to put above and below my favorite picture of Nora and her little cousin Renee at the tree, because this was Cousin Christmas at my brother and sister-in-law's house, Josh and Chrissy. They live in Battle Creek. And so that is why we stayed overnight in the hotel the previous night, because the Chapman Christmas was in Battle Creek area and Cousin Christmas the next day was in Battle Creek area. So we decided to stay local rather than drive all over the place. And then we just spent the afternoon at Josh and Chrissy's, and all of the brothers came over, and like both parents came over, even though they're not together, but it was fine. It was totally like kind of like it always was. So both my mother and father-in-law were there, and my mother-in-law's brother, his wife, and her father. So it was like our typical, like what we would do where we'd normally have Christmas at my in-laws' house. We had it at my brother-in-law's house instead this year, which worked out just fine. And the kids actually had so much fun. It was just the best seeing Nora with her cousins, which is what I journal about the most, I feel like, when we're away. We only see them a couple times a year, so it's really important to me to maximize our time with them and to try to create opportunities for Nora to just have as much time with them as possible. So these old chipboard numbers are from Allie Edwards as well. I like the pop of black, so I decided to go with those, even though you saw me try the gold rub-ons. Those are old numbers from Paper Person. And then in the bottom, now I'm just gonna, this I also sped up, and I think I even edited out some of it. It's just me figuring out where I want to put the pictures. So there's various photos of Junior playing what he calls spider, where he pretends like a spider is crawling up on someone's arm and he has to attack it. Super cute. Nora playing with Junior, the kids all waiting to open presents. Lots of photos of people at dinner tables eating, because that's one of our favorite things to do, obviously. Selfie of my mother-in-law and I with our paper crowns, because a tradition since my sister-in-law, whose house we were at, is from the UK. They do the crackers where everybody stands in a circle. You each have a cracker. You cross your arms over each other and you pull. And they are all supposed to pop about the same time, it was really cute to see. And I do have a picture of that in there. I have a picture of Nora opening her present from her grandpa, which was a silicone baby doll, and it's so frustrating. I might have talked about this before, but she had kept asking for one, and we had spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on silicone baby doll and accessories over the past couple years, and she decided she no longer wanted it at the end of last year, and then all of a sudden this year she decided she wanted them again. And so we were like, we are not spending our money on any more baby doll stuff. We have spent so much money on it. So I was like, well, now's the perfect time to ask, grandma or grandpa, see if they'll get you one, because it's not coming from mom and dad. So I reached out to my father-in-law, and he did order the one she wanted, and that is her face there where she's like got her mouth open and she's like, oh my God, that was what it was. So I journaled a little bit about that. I'm using the full-size paper, so I did need to score it so that it would fit inside the album. So it's scored at the 7-inch mark, and then I'm just going to make sure that where it's folding, there's a photo on the crease that's not going to obstruct anybody's face or anything like that. So I selected the photos and put them in place accordingly. I also tried to make them go chronologically from top to bottom. So on the bottom row, there's a picture of Matt and his father asleep on the couch, which is hilarious because they both constantly fall asleep like that. And then, more my father-in-law than Matt, but it was just really funny. And then there's a picture of some of the aunts and uncles and cousins playing spoons, and that was what we were doing really late into the evening. And so then on the front piece of this fold out, I'm layering this December paper that was on sale as an add-on this year. And that's just acting as like a background for this photo of Nora and Renee, which is like one of my favorites of the two of them. They're so happy to see each other. I just rounded the corners and then adhered it to the front. So as far as like details embellishing this, it's such a busy spread, right? With like so many photos over 2 pages, there's a lot to see, which is always why like if I have a lot of photos and there's like kind of a lot happening, I try to keep the colors really neutral or stick with one or two colors. So in this case, I thought that the golds and like the whites and the creams worked really well. And it actually looks nice with all the photos because it just kind of worked out with like the background, the glowing lights on the trees and everywhere. It kind of all looks really, really nice together. So I just decided last minute that I was going to fill in some of the like little tiny parts of the labels on the pattern paper that don't have photos with the leftover pieces of this pattern paper. So I'm going to use the middle-sized die and just cut out some, as many of those shapes as I can from this paper. And then I'm going to adhere it where, see on the left and the right sides, there's nothing. I thought about journaling in those spots, but again, I didn't want to detract from the photos. So I figured adding this pattern paper in brings it all together. You see the pattern all over this story, and it also, nicely takes up that space. I did leave the top and the bottom rows where there's a little tiny bit of white blank, and I think that looks just fine. So once I get these on, I need to put the some embellishments, just a few things. So I'm going to reach into my stash. I knew I wanted to bring in some more gold to play along with the gold frames. And then for the areas where I have, like, see, I have a group of photos here. It's like 3 different pictures of the kids at different table settings. So I'm going to use my tiny brads and attach them all together so that they swivel apart and you can see that there are more pictures behind it. And that is why I'm going to put them in the little pockets that I created with the larger die and the vellum paper. And then there's this double photo of Nora opening her baby doll present, and those are going to go in a pocket as well. Now, the bottom label on the left side needs a little something, so I decided to use this really pretty ornament. I've already used 2 of them. I have 2 left, and this one has the perfect like colorway to go with this story, and it's a great size, so I'm going to put that inside the label. And now I'm reaching for all of these puffy stickers. They're different shapes, stars, asterisks, hearts. They're from Ellie Studio, and I got these on clearance and I love them. So I'm going to use a whole bunch of these and just sort of get sticker happy and sprinkle them. Or I call it, like when I'm planning in my planners or journals, I call it sticker sneezing, where I'm like hachoo, and then just all of a sudden there's stickers everywhere, and that's basically what's happening. Is I'm kind of trying to space out these little tiny puffy stickers, and I don't want to cover up any of the photos, but I also want the stickers to stay within the frames so that it it doesn't look too much. I think if I started to put them outside the border of the frames, and I don't know, it just would have looked a little bit crowded or chaotic. And so I like to keep them within the frame. I also thought about journaling in the white space underneath the photos, but in the end I decided to leave it blank, and I think the photos do enough of the storytelling. I don't think there really needs to be a much journaling. I did go back and add some journaling onto some gold labels from Studio Calico, so I put a label on each of the little vellum pockets. And I wrote, so much fun, all the cousins at one table, the adults all over, lots of food, chaos, and catching up. And I'm using my new Grabie multi-liner pens, which are my favorite. They come in lots of different sizes and colors, and they work so well. So I'm using those to document. They're also archival. Then I wrote on the other one, Nora was begging for another silicone baby. We refused to buy, but Grandpa surprised her with one. Obviously, she loved it. And then on the front picture that folds open, I wrote cuties. I love it when all 5 cousins get to play together. It makes me happy. And that is basically going to wrap up this story. I love the way this looks. I think it came out exactly the way I wanted, which I love that for me, because sometimes, as you know, I will have an idea in my head, and when I actually go to execute said idea, it does not turn out the way I wanted. So I was very happy with this story. Then I'm just going to go back and add in a few more puffy stickers I like to do them in odd numbers, so groups of 3 or 5 is my favorite way to add just some finishing touches. And here's where I'm going to decide to add in the die cut on the bottom because I don't like that blank space down there. So I loved the gold foiling in the December die cut, and that's the one I'm going to go with. And then that is going to wrap up this story. I love the way it turned out. I'm really, really happy with it. Like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this one. So I'm going to show you how both of these pages look together in real time before we move on to the next one. Here we go. This is story 29, and it is not with me. I wasn't there. This is Matt and Nora going to see Michigan State play basketball. It was her first college basketball game. She went with her cousin Justin, who's the oldest boy cousin, and Matt's younger brother Josh. So that was really fun for them. I'm so glad they were able to go. Josh could only get 4 tickets, and I wanted Nora to be able to enjoy this special event with her dad. He is the sports guy, and I definitely wanted her to, you know, just get some extra time and make a special memory with them. So I'm really glad she was able to go. So I printed out this large size selfie that Josh took for me. Thank you, Josh, for taking this picture. They were at the very top of the Breslin Center, which is so funny because it's pretty hard to see from up there. But Nora still had a lot of fun. So I am using these old scallop labels. I think they're from last year's collection, December Daily collection. I love the green. It's Michigan State green, so obviously that is why I went with it, as well as some of these chipboard embellishments. And I also have a lot of other green items that I'll be using to add a little bit of fun here and there. So I am going to write on the top of the photo here. I'm going to cover up the hole because I don't want it to be like a label. I just want it to be, or a tag. I just want it to look like a label. So I'm going to spell out MSU for Michigan State University. I'm going to sprinkle a couple of stars to cover up the hole and make it look like it wasn't there. And then I just wrote, again, with my multi-liner pens, that Matt and Nora were planning to go to the MSU game with Josh and Justin Monday night. They sat all the way at the top, but Nora had a great time anyway. And I am also going to use some of these like random little stickers. They're from various December daily releases, and I have a lot of green, as you can see. So I'm going to pull out quite a few of those and add those here and there. On the bottom, I'm just creating a little tiny space just for fun to keep the photo looking a little interesting, and I just stamped together. So I'm just going to explain the rest of this, and then I'll put some music on because it's pretty self-explanatory. I do love this pocket configuration on the right that I'm using. That's got 2 4x4 pockets and then 4 2x2s. I like the smaller size photo option for photos that maybe aren't the best quality, which in this case they were not. My husband's phone does not take great pictures, and it's hard to do that when you're in an arena with the lighting and everything, especially when you're at the top. So there's a picture I took of Nora still asleep on me. We took a nap. I knew it was going to be a late night, so I wanted her to get some rest. And none of us slept well the entire time we were there, so naps were definitely happening throughout our trip. Nora took a selfie. I embellished that with just a little puffy heart from Paper Person. The next photo down is being covered by the scissors right now, but it is of the arena. It's not a great picture, but again, I wanted to include it, and I embellished that one with a green chipboard and gold foiling that says Celebrate the Season. Then the bottom photo is a selfie they took. Matt and Nora, and I just wrote on top of a label sticker my whole heart and put a heart. And those little labels are from a previous Advent sticker kit. On the photo, the large photo of Nora and Matt's dad, they met for dinner before the game, and they went to a place called Qdoba. We don't have one here, but if you have one near you, let me know. It was not Nora's favorite, and it's honestly not mine. Matt had taken her. It was her first time because he thought she would love it, since Chipotle is her favorite restaurant, and it's similar to that, but it just, I don't know, it just was not good. I've not been impressed the 2 or 3 times I've eaten there. And then I'm just going to use various embellishments. I did spend way too much time going through every single one of my star, like star shape embellishments, trying to find some that would work. In the end, I didn't use a single one, so I edited out all of that wasted time, but that is why you can see them all off to the left side of the screen. On the scalloped 4x4 card, I'm just going to use the tiniest star stickers as bullet points to talk about the different photos. And I already narrated that for you, so I won't reiterate, but if you want to read it, feel free. And now I'm just going to put on some music while you watch me finish putting the story together. All right, so that ends story 29. I'm going to show you how it looks close up in real time. Another one that I really enjoy. And then I'm going to move on to story number 30, which this one takes quite a while because it's over several different pages. There were a ton of photos and moments that I wanted to document. So this story is all different photos from our time with Kit and Tully, which is Matt's youngest brother, wife, and their 2 kids, Sutton and TJ or Junior. So we were there for, I think, 4 days or something like that. So I had a lot of photos. I didn't include all of them. And actually, I think there's 1 or 2 that made it into Project Life that I did not use here. And I definitely journaled more about each of the days in my Hobonichi, so there's lots more details if for some reason I ever needed to go back and try to find them. But I think I did a pretty good job of capturing our time there. And I'm using the backside of Story 29, so there's a page protector, and then I'm going to use one more page protector, and then a patterned paper that I had in my stash. So focusing on the first part of this story, which is over like 4 different pages, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. This backside of the scalloped pocket card, I just used part of the transparency that says Happy Christmas. I think it might have been a 4x6 card, maybe. Or maybe it was 3x8. I don't remember, but I love the red. And then I reached in and pulled out this pink plastic tag from my stash. Again, I like the scallop matching the scalloped border, so I wanted to stick with that. And then I also am using like a red, pink, and gold theme over these few pages. That highlights die cut is from the November Stories by the Month kit by Ellie Edwards. And then I'm actually going to be using quite a few labels and puffy stickers from this Vicky Boutin collection. It's from a couple of years ago, and I love the shades of red and pink. They're perfect for what I'm going for. My inspiration for the colors for this story came from the 4x6 card that I'm going to be using on the right side of the page. That is from a previous Stories by the Month kit, and it has a 1, 2, and 3, and the colors are red, gray, and pink, and it says these are the moments I never want to forget on the right. So that's where I pulled my color inspiration from for all of my embellishments and things. So what I did before I started filming is went through my December daily stash and looked at all of the different colors of stickers and labels and word phrase things that I thought would work for this spread and pulled those out. So this one, like I said, is an old Vicky Boutin. It's called Warm Wishes, but I also have some two-dimensional stickers and things like that that I'll be using as well. So there's this larger photo of Nora and Junior together, just so cute. She was so wonderful with them, and it like makes me incredibly happy to watch her with her younger cousins, especially because she does not have siblings this side of heaven. So it really is like, I don't know how to describe it, but it fills me to watch her play like older cousin and help them where she can and try to like watch her try to uh referee like disagreements between them and help them when they need things. It's just the best. So that was my favorite part of being there, honestly, was seeing Nora just interact with her younger cousins. So there's various photos that I'll be embellishing. So there's 4 2x2 photos, and I'll talk about them in the order that they're going to be in the page protector. So the first photo that I was working on prior was Nora and Sutton sitting in the basement playing Sackboy, which is like a game on, I think they were on Xbox maybe. And I just wrote that on the little label and put a puffy sticker that said happiness and a heart. And then this picture is Junior in his new tent that we got him for Christmas, and he is so freaking cute. He has the biggest head ever, and he's just, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with him. So it's like the cutest picture. I wrote, Junior loves the new tent we got him. He is so cute. And then I put a sticker that said presents and then a little pink star. This is a picture of Sutton, and the last one was her as well at the library. One of the days we went to the library, and I played with her, and I wrote, let's build Legos, Auntie Jen, which is what she said before we were building Legos. And then I wrote that we had a fun library day with Lori, my mother-in-law, Tully, the kids, and I. And then on this one I'm writing, Nora is such an amazing older cousin. Love this. And then on the right, there is, it's like a standard page protector that you see. It's got 2 3x4 pockets and a 4x6. So the 3x4s is a picture of like just basically what we did most of the time that we were there, which was Tully, Kit, Matt, and Nora were just gaming. And the kid, even Sutton liked to game with them too. And I am not a gamer, so I either was like doing crossword puzzles on my phone or reading a book. Or catching up in my daily journal. So I wrote, this photo is a lot of what we did during break. They all love to game. I read a book. So cozy. And again, I layered that on top of one of the plastic pink scalloped tags from a few years ago. It might have been last year. I don't even remember, to be honest. And then I'm going to pull out some red and black puffy hearts, or stars rather. Then there's a selfie. Oh my gosh, I love this picture. It's not the most photogenic picture of me, but I was just like scrolling on my phone. Nora was snuggling me. You can see she has her beats on because she was watching something on her iPad, and Sutton was watching something on her tablet. And then Junior just toddles over and he goes, "Auntie Jen, let's cheese." And so he wanted to take a selfie out of nowhere, which I thought was so cute. So everybody came and wanted to be in the picture. So I wrote that on the gold label sticker and put a puffy heart. And then there's that 1, 2, 3 card where I'm going to journal about our stay. So I wrote, "I want to remember how much Nora loves being an older cousin and helping the kids with various things. She has a lot of patience with them. I want to remember the way Kit and Tilly parent so well together. Like them, Matt and I are doing our best to create healthier childhoods for our girl. It's fun to spend extended time with them." And number 3 says, "I want to remember how Matt, knowing me so well, made sure to take me out and try to find stationery. No luck, but he also took us to an outside mall Tuesday, and Nora and I got some new things. He is amazing." And there are no photos of that in this particular album, and that's totally fine with me. I do have talk about that more in my Project Life album, and like I said, in my Hobonichi journal. I use my multi-liner drawing pen to write this text as well. It's an 8 nib, so it's thicker, and I like that because I knew I didn't have a ton to write, and so using a larger nib helps take up some space. The last thing I did was add a couple, or maybe I'll do that later. I'm going to go back and add some puffy stars to the 1, 2, and 3. Working on the back side of this page protector configuration, there's this larger photo of, it's an action shot. Tully is on the floor, Nora is on the floor, and Junior and Sutton are attacking Tully, and then they attacked Nora. So I have another picture of that that's going to go on the right, but I love this picture. It's so funny. And so I used this large, long label to just write that they were attacking him, and there was a lot of giggling happening. And then another one of those die cut words that says "Celebrate" from the Stories by the Month kit. Then I'm layering a pink scallop tag, and on top of that I use one of the stickers from one of the Advent, I think it's this year's Advent kit actually, that says my favorite things about the season. And then there's the selfie of Nora and Sutton and myself. That was a different day. And I just put a sticker that says, "May your days be merry and bright." And then on the details from this month, pieces to remember, that's also from this Stories by the Month kit. I wrote, "I love how the littles love to play with Noira," which is what Sutton calls her. And so that's what we call Nora now a lot. We're like, "Cousin Noira?" It's just an inside joke in our family. And I said we were supposed to get dinner to celebrate Steve's birthday, but Steve, Lori, and Junior all had a virus. So we ordered Tex-Mex instead, and it was super tasty. But by the end of our break, I was ready to come home, which was true. I missed my craft room. And then this frame pattern paper is a very old one, and I just used it to put a bunch of pictures as well. So the top right is Sutton attacking Nora on the ground, which is a continuation of the story in the photo on the left, and then a selfie of Junior and I, and then Nora and Sutton playing doctor on the last day before we had to leave. And then in the top, I just had this sticker that said "Merry and Bright" from an Advent kit, and I wrote on the label on the bottom that even with a fever, Tully Jr. is still in such a good mood. The last day the girls played doctor. And then I stapled a plastic 30 just because I wanted whoever's looking at this to know it's still the same story. It's just over lots of pages. On the photos, I'm taking my baker's twine and adding a little bow to each of the tops. I think it looks really cute. Adds a little texture. And then just added a puffy sticker on each one of the pictures. Again, it was a lot of photos, but again, we were there for several days, so I knew it was going to be a little bit challenging to try to capture all of the memories and make all of it look like it went together with one story, and that's always tricky for me. So that's why I think sticking to some colors, just a few colors, and trying to pull out like similar motifs, like in this case the scallop shapes, and then also those little puffy stars and hearts, I think it makes it look like it does all kind of go together as one story. So here's a look at the finished few pages that I made. And now the last story I already did my journaling for is story 31. And I already wrote on this pattern paper that's from a previous Stories by the Month kit or a story kit, I can't remember, but it just says I want to remember. And I wrote, staying in and wearing jammies all afternoon into the evening. As soon as Matt and I returned from stationery hunting, we got into cozy clothes. I want to remember the super cute fake New Year countdown kit until he played on TV for the littles and how we all pretended it was 2026. We even cheersed our fancy cups. I want to remember the adorable tradition of having the three cousins jump off the couch and into the new year. Then they did a robot dance before Sutton had to go to bed. I wanted to remember we almost made it until midnight altogether, but not quite. Matt fell asleep on the couch as usual, and the three of us went to bed by 11. I was up scrolling past midnight. Ready or not, here comes 2026. And then I just used a bunch of different velvet ribbons. One's from Ranger. The other two are from a previous December daily kit, just to fill in the left side of the page. And then across the top, I used this black label as a background to spell out New Year's Eve, which is not my favorite, but it is what it is. I should have probably, it looks just too harsh. That's okay. I had to reinforce the chipboard gold alpha stickers, even though they're supposed to be sticky, they were not, with my Zig two-way glue pen. I use that a lot for details, so it works really well on the backs of alpha stickers. So that's what I did to keep it in place. And then I had this little tiny photo that didn't get used anywhere else of Nora and Sutton jumping off the couch into the new year. I think that's such a fun tradition. I never had thought of doing that, and that's totally on Kit and Tully. They do that with their kiddos. So Nora loved that, and I was able to capture that little blurry moment. So I sized it to fit inside one of the journaling spots, and then I used my corner rounder so that it would mimic the shape of the spot where I did my writing. I should say this part where I'm adding in all these stickers is sped up to 10 times because, again, it's just super tedious. All I did was spell out New Year's Eve. Not super exciting, but I knew I had a bunch of these stickers in this same exact gold glittery like color in different stars. So I think they're from this year and last year's Advent sticker kit, and maybe even from the main kit. I don't remember, but I have a whole bunch of them, so I just used a few here and there, again, using my glue pen to make sure they stuck in place. And then the photos on the left are going to go on this die cut shape, which came in the add-on pack this year. I love the die cut shapes. They're always like my favorite thing to use to prompt me to tell stories. And so I put the photos inside a circle shape in the Diptyque app, and then I sized them in Print-A-Size. Then I used my 2.5-inch circle punch to punch out the pictures, and then I adhered them to the different circles. So there's a picture of dessert, which we had Nora and Sutton and Kit doing the robot, Matt and Nora and I taking a selfie with our New Year's hats on, and Nora's blowing the little like streamer. Picture of my brother-in-law and sister-in-law and their kiddos on the couch before going to bed, and then Matt falling asleep on the couch with his phone in his hand. It's so funny. And then the center picture is all of us doing a cheers. The kiddos' drinks are the pink plastic drinks, and they had like, I don't know, sparkling grape juice or something like that. And then I just went around and added a bunch of little chipboard phrases that are from a previous, like a really old kit. And the cheers die cut is again from Stories by the Month. And I put a few of those gold stars in random places, and then one chipboard word on each of the photos. And that is going to wrap up my story. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I finished the second volume of this album. I'll be back in a day or two with a full flip through of volume 2. I already have a flip through of volume 1. So if you missed that, go back and check it out. It's under my December daily playlist. There's process videos for almost every single story, unless yours truly forgot to hit record, which happened. Oh my gosh. Slaps forehead. And I actually still have to decorate the front of this album because I didn't do like a little cute title, like front page in volume 2 yet. So I have to do that before I do my flip through, but I will show it to you whenever that video goes up and I have time to film it. And I always like to film a chatty version and a version to music. The chatty version always gets more views, but I know there are some people who like, you know, do not want to hear me rambling, and or if you've already watched every single process video, then you don't necessarily need to hear me rehash everything. So I like to film it 2 different ways. So that will be coming soon. All right. So just trimming off where the paper didn't quite line up perfectly. It's just a teeny little bit. And then I will add my number 31. I did that with these little tiny, they don't stick out very well, but I used red puffy numbers. I felt like I needed to bring in some more red, but I feel like they get a little bit lost. It's fine. They are, I think they were an add-on this year, and yeah, I think that's where I got them. And then I'm going to show you how the story looks. I think it, you know, it was really simple. It took me not very long at all to put together. How it looks in real time. And then I'm going to put everything that I just did back in my album, and I will show you a flip through of story 28, story 29, 30, and 31. I really hope you've enjoyed going on this journey with me of documenting my 5th ever December daily. It's such a fun project. Thank you so much for watching. As always, let me know if you have questions or comments. If you'd like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell. And I'll be back soon with a flip through. Take care of yourselves, friends, and remember that you are enough. Bye.